Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SEO Frameworks, the podcast where we explore the building blocks of a winning SEO strategy. Whether you are an SEO professional, a digital marketer, or just simply a guy looking to optimize your online presence, this series is for you. I'm your host, Manuel Madeddu, and this podcast is brought to you by Oncrawl. Today it's the first episode, and we'll be talking about crawling and indexing. But before jumping right into the conversation, let's welcome our guest. We have here with us Billie Geena, Enrico, and Pamela. But let's hear it from you guys so you can introduce yourselves.
I'll jump in first. I'll be the painful first introduction there. Hello, I'm Billie Geena. I've been doing SEO for about 6 years. And before that, I did content. I've done everything in-house, agency, and now I'm a freelancer and have just launched my own little business called RankSuite. And I'm really into teaching and explaining the intricacies of SEO. So I'm so excited that I've been invited on this podcast, and I really can't wait for us to delve in.
Thank you, Billie. And then Enrico, if you want to go next.
Hello, thanks Billie Geena for taking the hit of being the first to talk. My name is Enrico. I'm head of SEO at LeoVegas. I've been working mostly in agency most of my career. I think looking back, there's just one thing that I'm really good at, and it's surrounding myself with amazing people who are both nice and very knowledgeable. I think that's the single best thing that I do.
And Pamela, your turn.
Yeah, my turn. Hi, I'm Pamela. I'm a freelance SEO Country Lead at Canva, but my main background is in tech SEO, mainly agency side. I worked a lot on large e-commerce websites, and I'm passionate about international SEO and programmatic SEO. Besides SEO, I've been studying acting for 6 years. I guess this is to try and optimize the way I communicate with people. Yeah, that's me.
Interesting. Maybe we can try something today. Let's see. But yeah, let's crack on. So as said, the topics of this episode is crawling and indexing. Just to give everyone a quick introduction, but essentially, crawling and indexation are the two critical processes in the SEO world. Crawling is essentially the process by which search engines discover new and updated content on the web. And indexing is the next step. So once the search engines discover the pages by crawling and searching the web, then they evaluate, analyze, and add the pages in that database and index and show them into the search results. So this is briefly what it's about. We can start our conversation, and I want to discuss with you a few tips based on your experience and your job, essentially, what you do in the day-to-day. Starting from maybe Billie Geena. So if we have to discuss crawling indexation, so what's your first tips? What's the tip that comes to mind?
I think the first tip that comes to mind applies to everyone that works within SEO, whether you're an agency or in-house or doing your own thing. And it's that not every single page of a website deserves to be indexed. There's a lot of information, a lot of pages out there on the web. We all know that. And I think something that comes up quite a lot is when you are working with various stakeholders or clients, when they see that we've started work on SEO, they assume that every single page on their website is going to then rank, and we're going to do some absolute magic. But we all know that's not the case, and not everything deserves to be on the web. An example of this could be an e-commerce website, a category that only has like 2 products on it. What is that? What's the point in that, really? Like, that should be somewhere else. Like, sometimes we niche down too much to try and target those really specific long tail keywords, and there's just no point. It doesn't deserve to be on the web because there's not enough there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can jump in on this, I think that's really spot on. I think it is indeed the case that indeed the number of items in a listing is for sure a sign of the quality of that listing, right? So, and with this, I think one thing that I think we can add is sometimes we talk about content and we think about text. The text is just an example. It's a type of content. In a listing page, the content is the list. So potentially, especially if you manage to make it accessible, which is a whole other whole other thing.
Discussion.
So yeah, I think that's very much the case.
So essentially get index, and if you deserve to be indexed, or get out the database. Yeah, Pamela, do you have anything to add, or do you have another tip you'd like to share with us?
I'd like to share another tip. In my opinion, one of the things we should focus on is a well-organized site structure with clear navigation and effective internal links. Crawlers use links to discover content, so we need to ensure that important pages are interlinked and easily found. And the good news is that in most cases, we can fully control site's architecture or at least internal links. So to start, I'd say that we need to organize content with a clear hierarchy, think top-down or pyramid structure, define the main categories or any subcategories, and also group content based on specific topics or user intent. One good approach here is to map pages to related search queries and ensuring they align with the search intent. Then another thing that is important when it comes to the information architecture is also the click depth. Usually we say that pages should be kept within 3 to 4 clicks from home page, but my recommendation here is to use common sense. I mean, not all pages need to be at a high navigation level, so we need to kind of minimize the click depth without compromising the user experience. So, and another thing that I've mentioned are internal links. I think that they are also crucial for both SEO and user experience because they connect the different parts of the website, improving the navigation, but they also pass link equity or page rank, a signal that still influences rankings, but also crawl frequency. So internal links are important. We can get the most out of them by linking from high priority authoritative pages to less visible but important pages to boost their ranking and also discovery. I'd like also to mention some common pitfalls that are frequent when we talk about internal links. So, for example, uncrawlable links are often an issue if you implement links that rely on JavaScript or are interactive elements, and for any reasons there is an issue while rendering JavaScript. These links are not visible to search engines. So my recommendation here, but also Google recommendation, is to prefer the use of HTML tags with href attributes for links. Other common issues are no follow links. If you have important pages, use to follow links to link to them, or broken links, redirects, chains, or unnecessary redirects. You need to always try and link to pages returning a 200 status code. Anchor tags, another topic. Try to get the most out of them, and also don't stuff pages with links. It's unnecessary. So internal links should be relevant and also useful for users. Last thing, I promise, all these things are important because, for example, for large and complex websites, we also have to deal with the crawl budget. I mean, in most cases, we don't have to do it, but with large websites, we want to ensure that our most important pages are frequently and deeply crawled. Yeah, and that's it.
Wow, exhaustive. Yeah, Thanks, Pamela. And I think you kind of open our kind of worms here, and I'm pretty sure we all have our nightmares when working on these topics. Well, you provided like a huge and very long list of pitfalls, and also, some of the streams you can prioritize when you are working on crawling indexation and the common errors. Just to wrap it up and try to summarize and try to get to a point. So given the huge list of errors or ways of working or what you can optimize, it's an open question for you guys, but how do you evaluate what's priority for the client and the job you're doing and the strategy you're applying, and what you recommend, what's really needed for what you want to achieve? So how do you prioritize and discuss recommendations? Maybe Billie, we will start with you, or open conversation, guys, you can answer.
I'll jump in again. So I kind of just want to build on what Pamela's just said there about like sitemaps and niche keywords and things like that. It all really ties in to the bigger picture of how we present issues to developers, to stakeholders, whatever. And I guess it's not just about identifying and prioritizing needs. What you need to also think about is what would happen if you don't do this? What are the lost opportunities? So say if we've pitched to a client and we want to do some really like niche and specific keyword research, and the client says no, because we don't have that research, that also means we've lost internal linking opportunities. It means that we might not be able to optimize the sitemap as effectively. We might not know these different categories we should break a website down into. So when we're presenting an issue and our audits or whatever to a client, we should also inform them that if they say no or be a blocker on one activity, what other activities they are affecting.
Yeah, that's a good tip. People usually are driven more than the fear, by the fear of losing than the purpose of gaining. So they're more scared about what they lose rather than what they gain. So yeah, good tip. Enrico, what do you think about it?
I think the implementation is the struggle, right? Especially when you are agency side. I'm sure Pamela knows all about it. You have your ideas are the best, but then the client goes, yes, I'm giving you the money. Yes, I'm giving you the attention. Yes, I'm coming to the weekly meeting with you. But then this implementation is going to go live in 6 months, maybe, if you're lucky. So, and now that I work client side, I'm starting even more to understand why that is, because of course there's a reason. Of course, you talk to a person, you don't talk to the company. So the person you talk to, your point of contact is one person, the company is hundreds of people, and it's very hard to make things move. So my suggestion there is to try to make something useful but small happen. So much so, to just pick the easiest possible battle and then obtain that very, very little improvement, so that then you can build up on that. You can say, well, you did listen to me once and we did improve, so now listen to me even more. Even if this second task is a bit bigger, it takes a little bit more of effort for the company, and then maybe like that, it's just like an avalanche, it will start to really work, hopefully.
Finger crossed. Yeah. So essentially prioritizing the low-hanging fruits, hoping that they will buy trust and you can implement other things. Pamela, you have...
Let me start saying that Enrico's tips is great. I mean, it should work. I mean, you kind of demonstrate the effectivity of your strategy. That's great. From my point of view, my recommendation is to focus on the most impactful areas, especially the ones that aligns with the business goals and context, because This is what the stakeholders care more about. So, for example, for instance, when talking about e-commerce sites or content-driven sites, we have different priorities. So our focus should align accordingly. So for example, to say if you're working on a recently migrated website that has lost rankings, the business goal and also your goal should be to recover from such loss. So you should, start by prioritizing auditing and resolving the migration issues, like fixing the technical configuration issues, ensuring that redirects are correctly set up. Then you can move on. So after those critical steps are done, you can add something else, and you can, for example, focus on missing content or duplicated content. And in the end, you can work on new opportunities or closing the gaps with competitors. So kind of define a clear scope, define actionable steps to ensure progress and a successful implementation.
I think there is a common theme in what you are all saying. So yes, one thing is prioritization, but the other thing is also essentially to connect with your stakeholders to get your implementation implemented, your recommendation implemented. So what's your recommendation, the best tip, your winning strategy in trying to win, clients or get the developers to implement what you are recommending?
Go on then, I'll jump in first. There were a long silence there. I kind of have two different points for this, and I feel like it's been touched on by all of us. But technical SEO, indexation, crawling, a big part and a big skill that's often not considered technical SEO is your communication skill. If you can't sell and understand and make people that have no understanding buy into your idea, then nearly every idea that you pitch and every suggestion you pitch wouldn't go through. So I think we're all saying this, that it's about presenting things in the right way, talking about the things that are important to the person that you're speaking to, and that will change depending on who in the business you're speaking to, which then brings me to my second point. So I'm going to sound really miserable here. I might be just a miserable person. We'll find out. But I like to try and present like I try to understand the business from like worst case scenarios when I'm making suggestions. So sometimes it's really handy to have a bit of a doomsday meeting with a client to find out what their reality actually is. So say if I've been brought on to help a client decide if they're going to do a migration, I'll sit down with the client and try and understand the setup of the site. And this will give me a really strong idea of how I would make suggestions and communicate with them. So an example of this could be I'm working with a business and their CEO made the website in their bedroom 10 years ago, and they have made changes, but they've not really strayed from that tech stack because the site is the CEO's baby. They're so proud of it. I'm going to get from that situation a real deep understanding that I'm not going to get probably my dream migration. I'm going to have a very stressful one, but it would allow me to then ask questions like, okay, let's say the person that built the site, the CEO, gets hit by a bus. They're not dead. They're alive. They're fine. But for the next 6 weeks, they've got both arms in a cast. They can't make changes. Who else can I speak to? And then they might say, head of web dev. So I'll speak to them. What capacity do they work in? Okay, they've now been hit by a bus, a different one. But there's a big problem. What happens then? And I can get a good understanding of how many hoops I need to jump through what the likelihood of changes I'm going to make and what's actually within my control. And I think having these sessions, as silly as they are or as gloomy as they are super important, and will help you with that bigger communication piece that we've identified.
Yeah. Good examples, and yeah, a bit extreme, but essentially the main tip is be careful when you cross the street. I think is the main one.
Look both ways.
Yeah. No, the second one, I think in your 2 points, yeah, communication is key. So whether so try to move from the technicalities, because technicalities we as technical SEO can understand, or the devs, but really the main stakeholder, the CEO building the site, he doesn't care maybe. So try to maybe go to a level he can understand and scare him. But yeah, I'm talking too much. I leave it back to you,
Yeah.
guys.
Let me jump on this. I'm breaking a bit the pattern, so Enrico, sorry, I go before you. I totally agree with what Billie just said. I mean, communication is key, and I find that establishing direct communication with all stakeholders is critical. From C-suite to developers or other departments, you have to have a direct communication with them. I think that is also important to educate the audience, starting from the basics, so everyone is on the same page for future conversations. So what I usually do is kind of explain them what is SEO, what it is not, mostly what it is not, what it means for their business, and also the impact each action has on it, and how SEO can help achieving their goals and benefit other departments. Of course, what I try to do is avoid using jargon, so keeping things simple and explain technical terms when needed, just to build solid foundation and engage every stakeholders in my strategy. So, and I also noticed that understanding the SEO basics then empowers the stakeholders making informed decision, and also support your strategy, especially when it comes to roadblocks. So what I'm trying to say is don't let them become blockers, but instead turn them into your cheerleaders so that they can help you avoid any roadblocks and get things done.
So if you don't hit them with a bus, then make them your cheerleader, essentially. Okay.
Can I vote for the being hit by a bus?
Yeah, go for it, Enrico.
No, one thing that I think I can add here. I mean, it is always the case as for most things that go from bottom to top, that we need to be able to strike some chords when we're talking to the people with whom we're talking, just because not all of them will know about SEO, and some of them will also not care. Unfortunately, somebody doesn't care about SEO. It's an unfortunate fact of life, and I can't fathom why, but that it is the case. So, what I think
we're all smiling on this, by the way. But
yeah, I know. I'm preaching to the choir, but no, but everyone else, we need to really find a way to talk to them in a way that they are willing to understand and able to understand. There's other things in life than SEO, unfortunately. So they will be expert in other things, and it's up to us to being able to make them understand why one thing is important, right? So in this case, for instance, we're talking indexation crawling. I think you cannot talk to a person who's not into SEO in these terms, right? Your site has been crawled but not indexed, and they will go like, what are you talking about? Like this like, it would be very hard for normal people there I said it, for normal people to understand what the point of it is. So I think to solve this, I think a very good trick is to put it in a very simple number, a very simple piece of data that you can share. And rather than saying, you have a bazillion pages and Google is indexing, I don't know, 10% of your sites. And so, this is a topic, this is a way that I can talk to you, but of course I cannot talk to non-SEOs. So I would rather say something along the lines of, Google knows 10% of your site, you're missing 90% of your traffic, 90% of your revenue. This is not true, of course, in terms of if we want to really do the maths correctly. However, given this is the way that you can, I think, translate this into revenue, into traffic to your site, your audience. This way, they will be more likely, at least, to really understand what's going on.
Yeah, makes sense. So again, communication is key. Essentially, try to make all the information you're sharing digestible and smaller for people to understand, and adjusting also the type of communication with your stakeholders and your the people you're discussing with. Okay, all interesting food for thoughts, guys. I think a very interesting conversation, and yeah, I think that's it for today. But I think we had a nice time together. We share some good thoughts based on our experience, and yeah, I hope for who's listening, you enjoyed the episode, and for you, thank you all of you guys to be here with this first episode. And yeah, you can join us again sooner for another episode of SEO Frameworks. But thank you for being here with us, to you guys and to
Bye.
the listener.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye.